So I've decided to head back to the past today, and we're going to be playing 3 NHL games from the past decade, the first being NHL 16. Now what we're going to do on these games is we're going to complete a fantasy draft. We're off to a terrible start already. We're going to be getting the 30th overall pick. Certainly not what I wanted here. But what we're going to do is we're going to draft our team in NHL 16, and then we're going to take that team to NHL 25, and we're going to see if we can win a Stanley Cup. Now we have to be very careful with our selections here, because bringing a guy like Datsuk to the team, absolutely pointless. He's not an active player in NHL 25. Same with Ryan Getzlaf. We could take Corey Perry, but once we take our drafted team to NHL 25, he's not going to be a very valuable player. A guy like Chris Letang, on the other hand, he actually might not be too bad, because by the time we get to NHL 25, he's still respectable enough overall. So taking him with our first round pick, that might not be the end of the world. By far the most difficult thing here is going to be goaltending. So a guy like Marc-Andre Fleury, although you're not a super high overall in NHL 25, at least we'd get a decent enough goaltender. The other thing we could do is just take a really young goaltender that we know is going to develop in the future. Like taking a guy like Darcy Kemper maybe in the 12th or 13th round might not be the end of the world, because by the time we get to NHL 25, he'll be like an 84 or 85 overall. So all we're worried about is the future. We don't care if we're drafting a team that can win now. We're worried about the future. So with all that being said, with our very first selection, Chris Letang, welcome to the team. However, there is one thing I haven't mentioned. Now that we brought Chris Letang to the team, in the other 2 NHL games we draft our team in, Chris Letang can't come to the team. We can only have each player on our team once. But since we had the last pick in the fantasy draft, we are going to get back-to-back selections here. And there is one guy that I'm thinking about. And it's this guy right here, Connor McDavid. This is the game we're going to bring Connor McDavid to our team, and there is a reason I started with NHL 16, and this is the reason right here. Connor McDavid, welcome to the team. So we're already off to a great start. We have Chris Letang on the team. We got Connor McDavid. Who's going to be joining next? Joe Thornton, welcome to the team. Obviously, we're not going to be doing that. Cam Fowler, it's not a terrible selection, because I mean, you're at least a decent overall. Palat, don't really want to go with that. Jordan Eberle, it could be worse. Ryan O'Reilly would also be a really good selection here. Sean Monahan wouldn't be too bad. There's a lot of players I would be interested in bringing to the team. Obviously not the Sedin brothers. That would make absolutely no sense for us. But who can we find who's a really young player right now, potentially even a rookie, that we could bring to the team? Philip Forsberg? I would not be against Philip Forsberg here. A young player, 86 overall, 21 years old. He fits the timeline for us. So Philip Forsberg, welcome to the team. Him and Connor McDavid on the top line. No, they're going to be working magic together. So who else can we find here that's a young player? I mean, they don't have to be super young. They just have to be good in NHL 25. And Nazem Kadri, I don't hate you. That honestly wouldn't be that bad of a pickup. Jonas Brodin also wouldn't be that bad of a pickup. Nikita Kucherov, I'm interested in that. Because once we get to a future game, obviously rest in peace Johnny Gaudreau, but Nikita Kucherov, in any future game we play, it's going to be very difficult to get you outside the first round. So Nikita Kucherov, Connor McDavid, Philip Forsberg on the top line, we might be able to win in NHL 16. So while I look for our next steal in the draft, a quick word from today's sponsor. So I want to give a massive shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video. As we know, SeatGeek's the best place for getting tickets for your favorite sporting events and concerts. If you want to watch baseball, hockey, basketball, or even see a concert from time to time, SeatGeek's the place to do it. SeatGeek is going to be ranking every single ticket. So if you see green, you're getting a great deal. If you see red, not the greatest deal. So on top of SeatGeek being the best place to buy your tickets, I got a deal for you. If you use code SOTI at checkout, you're going to be getting $20 off your first order. So once again, I want to thank SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. And remember, code SOTI for $20 off your first order. But with that being said, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 22 years old, you're a young player, so you'll probably get drafted pretty quick here. I think I'm going to pass up on you just to see what else is available. Brad Marchand, that would be a really good selection right there. Even Mika Zibanejad. I feel like it would be more difficult to get Brad Marchand in the future than Mika Zibanejad, so we might be going with Marchand. Mark Stone, okay, that's another good one. There's actually a lot of really good players we could draft here. Chris Tanev, I'm going to be able to get you in a future game, so I'm going to hold off right here. Matt Zuccarello, that wouldn't be a bad pickup. You know what? Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves here. I did see Brad Marchand, and that's what we're going to go with. So Brad Marchand, Connor McDavid, Philip Forsberg, Nikita Kucherov. That's our forward core right now. Yeah, we're definitely going to win a Stanley Cup. However, we do need to have some defensemen here, so maybe it wouldn't hurt if we drafted a defenseman pretty quick here. So we're going to filter by defenseman, see what we can find. Do Dion Phaneuf. Okay, could be the move. Definitely wouldn't be the right move, but it is a move. When it comes to defensemen, it's actually not looking that great here. So maybe a guy like Chris Tanev would be the move. He's only getting paid $4.4 million. I can't actually recall if at this time period that's actually a good contract or not. Contracts have increased quite a bit over the past 10 years, and over the next 10 years, they're going to increase even more. Contracts are certainly going to be interesting. But yeah, I think we're going to go with Chris Tanev. He's going to be a great player for NHL 25. Now, we've got ourselves a couple forwards and a couple defensemen. What we could really use as a goaltender. Cam Talbot, I'm looking at you. I feel like you're like an 85 overall in NHL 25, so that wouldn't be too bad. But let's find a rookie goaltender that has a ton of value. Jacob Markstrom. That's somebody I'm looking at. Not really too sure if he's a rookie at this point. I don't think he is. But there's definitely somebody we can find that's probably like an 88 overall. Like, where's Shesterkin? Where's Sorokin? There he is. The man, the myth, the legend. Jordan Binnington. We could bring Binner to the team. Now that would be a great selection. Four Nations champion, Jordan Binnington. Game 7, Jordan Binnington. UC Saros is also an option, so just keep that in mind. But overtime hero, Jordan Binnington. Put respect on my man's name. Yeah, but with all that being said, I actually don't think we're going to be drafting a goaltender quite yet. Instead, we're going to look through the available players. I don't care if you're a defenseman. I don't care if you're a forward. Matt Zuccarello, you actually would be a pretty solid pickup. I think I'm going to pass on you right now. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I did not consider that maybe 10 years ago. I mean, it hasn't been quite 10 years. It's actually been 9. But you know what? 10 years, 9 years, same difference. The players we're drafting right now have to be in the league 10 years from now. Brad Richards, certainly not in the league 10 years from now. Roman Polak, definitely not in the league 10 years from now. Victor Rask, don't believe he's still in the league. Maybe he is. He's probably in the AHL or something. But yeah, there is very few players we can actually select here. So you know what? Making the selections we have so far, we've been definitely heading down the right path. Okay, I found an absolute steal here, and I found him by accident. So I was sorting by overall because I was going to go with Jared Spurgeon here. But it reversed the overall, so I saw the lowest overall players in the league. Who is currently tied for the second lowest overall player in the league? Anthony Cirelli. That would be a pickup right there. That would be an incredible acquisition. We're probably going to draft you with our final selection or something, but Cirelli will probably come to the team. All right, but the player I was thinking of, they're a defenseman. There'll be a good defenseman in the future for us. Jared Spurgeon, where are you? You can play some good second pairing minutes for us. I don't expect you to be a superstar by any means, but I do expect you to play your role on this team. And after selecting another defenseman, it probably wouldn't hurt if we did pick up a forward here. I'm low-key looking at David Perron, because David Perron NHL 25 could be a good enough bottom 6 guy for us, but no, we're going with Matt Zuccarello over him. Now for the rest of NHL 16, I'm going to show you the players we select, but I'm not going to show you guys my entire thought process, because if I were to show you my thought process for every pick, and we still have like 30 picks left, that would take a while. So I'll show you every selection, just not my thought process. Like Oscar Klefbom, you would have been a good defenseman if you didn't get crippled with injuries. Shout out to Bro, he had it really tough. Now I was looking at bringing a forward to the team, but I can't pass up on Matthias Ekholm, 82 overall. He's going to develop to like an 86 for us, and then we're going to have a really good defensive core. Now we've drafted ourselves a lot of defensemen, so I think it's about time we bring another forward to the team, and I think that forward's probably going to be Teuvo Teravainen. Teravainen, you could be a good bottom 6 player for us in the future, because our top 6 is going to be absolutely loaded. Now I think it's about time we start looking at goaltenders here, but you know what? There's a ton of amazing goaltenders available. Jacob Markstrom, you're one of those goaltenders I'm thinking about, and you know what? I think we're going to do that. Jacob Markstrom, you're going to be our starting goaltender, and then we're going to draft our backup goaltender right after him. And it is very clear who our backup goaltender is going to be. It's not going to be UC Saros, because I wouldn't draft UC Saros to be the backup, but instead an absolute legend, Jordan Binnington. Should have we selected somebody over Jordan Binnington there? Probably. But we got our goaltending, and it's going to be Markstrom and Benner. All right, now you got to hear me out here. It's been a very long time since I did a fantasy draft on NHL 16, so I don't really remember what the team logic actually is. Like, I feel like Michael Del Zotto here just isn't that great of a selection. He has a low top 6 D potential, so he's probably not going to turn into too much. I don't recall what his overall is, but you have to understand, I could technically draft Provorov, or Leon Draisaitl, or Dylan Strome, Matt Barzal, Josh Morrissey, Mitch Marner. And I feel like taking these players in round number 13 makes sense, because Michael Del Zotto is probably only like an 82 overall. He has low top 6 potential. I would much rather have medium elite potential Leon Draisaitl, who is 19 years old, and that's who we're going to select. Am I drafting these players way too early? Potentially. But you know what? I feel like considering what other teams are drafting, you would just be way better off drafting some of these young players. Like Josh Morrissey, low elite potential, 75 overall. He's probably what, 8 overalls off of Michael Del Zotto at the very max, but he's younger and he has higher potential. So why would I not take Josh Morrissey there? Like Travis Sanheim, you're You're a 74 overall. What are the top overalls right now? An 86 is the best player you can get, but it's 43-year-old Jaromir Jagr. Markov's 36 here, Aginla's 38. So obviously I don't want to be drafting those guys. And then once you get down to the players who are like 31, it's Joffrey Lupul, who has a terrible contract, and I wouldn't want to take that contract on. So by the time you get down to a player who's a reasonable age and a decent overall, who's not on a terrible contract, what are you finding? Well, you're going to be finding Alexander Semin. He's 31 years old at this point. So yeah, maybe the game just completely lost their logic, but I am definitely going to capitalize on it. Travis Sanheim, welcome to the team. Right after that, Mitch Marner, we're going to take you. Meanwhile, Dylan Strome, we're going to select you in a different game because I know eventually your trade value is going to drop quite a bit and we're going to be able to capitalize. But I'm sorry, Cam Atkinson, low top 9. Am I just completely tweaking? I have no clue. Like, I know I'm just completely ranting at this point, but high backup potential goaltender Matt Murray is being selected before players who have medium elite potential. Nah, this game just lost all of its logic. Like, you're telling me you took a player who has high backup potential over Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell has high starter potential, but you took a goalie who has high backup potential. I don't even know how that works because it makes zero sense. Now, I know I've taken a lot of rookies, but I don't want to completely Brandon Carlo welcome to the team. So what I was about to say is I don't want to completely spam rookies here, because if I just draft rookies in every game, that really won't make for the most entertaining video in the world. So yeah, we do have to get some of these older guys, and when I'm talking older, I mean like 28 years old. But even 28 actually might be a little bit too old, because you think about it, you got to go forward 10 years. We basically have to almost draft rookies at this point. You know what? For the culture, we're bringing Ryan Reeves to the team. Doesn't make sense, absolutely not, but we're bringing Ryan Reeves in. Now currently I'm filtering by age, and I finally found a player who's 24 years old that's going to be good in NHL 25, Jonathan Marchessault. It took a very long time to find a guy like Marchessault. Like, maybe instead of going from oldest to youngest, I just go from youngest to oldest, and then we could find guys like Chandler Stevenson. I mean, he wouldn't be a bad pickup, but I think we could find somebody else. Mackenzie Weegar, that would be a really good pickup. He could round out our defense, but we actually don't need more defensemen here. We need a left winger and we need a center. All right, I think I finally found a player that could play some decent minutes for us. He'll be a good bottom 6 player. Currently plays for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Brian Rust, welcome to the team. Right now you're a 75 overall, but you can definitely play some good minutes for me in the future. So we need one more left winger and then our team's going to be complete here. We have our 4 centermen, we have our 4 right wingers, we actually have one more defenseman than we need, and we got our 2 goalies. So all we need is one more player here, one more left winger, and who's that left winger going to be? It could be Jordan Martinook, because in the future he does play left wing. And you know what? That's what we're going to go with. Jordan Martinook, did I think I'd be bringing you to the team in this video? Absolutely not, but that's who we're going to go with. So shout out to Jordan Martinook. Welcome to the team. Okay, I think this is really funny, but with the 630th pick, we selected Jordan Martinook. With the 751st overall, we drafted Mikko Rantanen. You're telling me Mikko Rantanen didn't get drafted until like the 25th round? That does not make sense. There was so many players that were drafted before him that definitely shouldn't have been. Now in NHL 16, this team doesn't look good. Connor McDavid 83 overall, Philip Forsberg 86, Zuccarello 85, Marchand 85, Mitch Marner only a 71 overall, Kucherov's an 86. I mean, he's a pretty good pickup. But Ryan Reeves, Brian Rust, Teuvo Teravainen, Leon Draisaitl, Jordan Martinook, Jonathan Marchessault, that is not a good forward core right there in NHL 16. Chris Tanev, Chris Letang, Jared Spurgeon, Matthias Ekholm, Josh Morrissey, Travis Sanheim. That's not looking good in NHL 16. And then when it comes to goaltenders, atrocious. Jacob Markstrom and Jordan Binnington, there's no way you would win with this team in NHL 16. Now it's time to take this team right here to NHL 25, and we are going to dominate. Now when I completed that fantasy draft, I did with the Arizona Coyotes or the Phoenix Coyotes, wherever they were called at that time. And recently, Arizona lost their team, and that was incredibly unfortunate. So we got ourselves the Scottsdale Snipers. So they're back in Arizona. Arizona's going to have themselves a team, and they're going to have themselves a super team. Philip Forsberg, Connor McDavid, Nikita Kucherov, Mitch Marner, Leon Draisaitl, Brad Marchand. This team is absolutely spectacular. The defense has absolutely no weaknesses here. We all know Brandon Carlo's got to play some second pairing minutes. We can't disrespect Brandon Carlo like that. And then when it comes to goaltending, 89 overall Jacob Markstrom, 84 overall Benner, probably should be a 99 overall, but that's a conversation for another day. The Scottsdale Snipers from top to bottom are the best team in the NHL, and we're going to see if this team right here is going to be able to take home a Stanley Cup. The answer is of course yes. Now the Scottsdale Snipers have a super team, and of course with a super team you're going to be finishing first in the entire league. A 60-20-2 record. Nobody was close to this team. They were in a league of their own. Nikita Kucherov 121 points, Connor McDavid 116, Leon Draisaitl 91, Josh Morrissey 83. This team from top to bottom was absolutely spectacular, Ignore Jordan Bainton's numbers. Jacob Markstrom, 45 wins, 8 shows, a 919 to 243. But can you show up in the postseason like Benner does? Because Game 7 Benner, we all know he's the greatest of all time. We got ourselves the Dallas Stars in the first round. Scottsdale, you gotta prove you can win when it matters most. Now Scottsdale, you proved yourself during the regular season, but can you prove yourselves in the playoffs? We have a 3-1 series leading against the Dallas Stars, so I think it's gonna be pretty easy for you to prove yourselves. Back-to-back shutouts, you're moving on to the second round. So we went to work against the Dallas Stars, took them out in 5 games, but we have a tougher matchup in the second round, the Winnipeg Jets. Now taking on the Winnipeg Jets here, it's making me think bringing Connor Hellebuyck to the team in our next game honestly wouldn't be that bad of a pickup. Like Connor Hellebuyck, the best goaltender in NHL 25, or he might be the second best behind Shesterkin, but if we were able to pick him up, that'd be an absolute game changer for us. We have a 3-1 series lead on the Avalanche, we're taking them down, and now we're in the Stanley Cup final. Like we don't even have Connor Hellebuyck right now, we're 12-3 in the postseason. Imagine if we added him to our team. It's going to be another 5-game series, and we're going to be Stanley Cup champions just like that. In year number 1, the Scottsdale Snipers, Stanley Cup champs. Let's see if we can go 3 for 3. We still got 2 more older games to jump into. Before we jump into those older games, we got to highlight these absolute studs. Nikita Kucherov, Connor McDavid, Philip Forsberg, all of them had an incredible postseason. 12 goals for Kucherov, 11 for McDavid, 12 for Forsberg. This line alone combined for 35 goals in the postseason. They were lighting the lamp for sure. And then when it comes to goaltending, Jacob Markstrom, he must have been pretty solid. A 16-4 record, 4 shots, a 930 to 209. You stepped up in the big time moments, and because of that, we're Stanley Cup champions. So we were able to take a team from NHL 16 to NHL 25 and win a Stanley Cup. Now let's move on to NHL 18. And let's see if a team we build in NHL 18 can win a Stanley Cup in NHL 25. So we're off to a great start. The team we constructed in NHL 16 was able to win NHL 25. So let's see if we can do the exact same thing here in NHL 18, the second overall pick. Now unfortunately, we can't take McDavid here. However, we can still get an elite talent. So McDavid's going number 1, 93 overall. Who else is available here? We have Sidney Crosby, Erik Karlsson. Don't want to go with Erik Karlsson. Steven Stamkos. Don't want to go with him. Who am I sleeping on here? We can't go with Kucherov because we already brought him to the team. I mean, Alexander Ovechkin really wouldn't be that bad. 92 overall. Victor Hedman would be a really good pickup here. We have to take a look at absolutely everything available. And Austin Matthews is one name jumping out at me. Matthews would be a great pickup here. Like, he'd be an elite talent. When it comes to goaltenders, I was thinking about Vasilevsky, but Vasilevsky hasn't quite hit his prime yet. Like, he's only an 86 overall, so we can get him a bit later. But yeah, I think we're going to have to go with Matthews here. This is probably going to be the only time we're able to bring Matthews to the team. So Austin Matthews, welcome to the Arizona Coyotes, where you rightfully belong. Alright, I almost made a massive mistake. I was leaning towards Hampus Lindholm. He'd be a great defenseman, like 88 overall, but there's actually somebody I'd rather have over him. Artemi Panarin. Yeah, we're taking Panarin. Panarin and Matthews together, that's a dynamic duo. Now we have to go a little bit off the board here. Vasilevsky, I'm going to bring you to the team because I don't think you're going to be quite available next time we get a selection. However, Connor Hellebuyck would be available later, but I think we get Vasilevsky here. Then when we move on to NHL 20, then we take Connor Hellebuyck. He'll be an easier player to draft. So Vasilevsky, welcome to the team. So we got Matthews, Vasilevsky, and Panarin. That's a terrific start. Now with this next selection, ideally I was thinking that we would add a defenseman to the team, but you know what? Nobody's really jumping out at me. Jonas Brodin, actually. We could bring Jonas Brodin to the team. And you know what? That's actually exactly what we're going to do here. Jonas Brodin, welcome to the team. Now Brodin might not be a superstar defenseman, but you know what? He's going to be a valuable option for us. And there was another name that jumped out at me when I was going through all those players. Severson, I actually wouldn't hate that because you'd be a decent enough defenseman for us. However, there's somebody I actually want over you. Now this player might not be a defenseman, but I do believe they're still going to be pretty valuable, and I think they actually just got selected. Bro was selected immediately after Jonas Brodin. It was Bo Horvat. That was the guy I wanted to bring to the team, so that's a bit unfortunate. Now, since we can't bring Bo Horvat to the team, we're going to have to take somebody else. And who's that player going to be? It's going to be Vinny Trocheck. Now, I feel like we're reaching that point where it's almost time for us to start bringing rookies to the team. Like, when it comes to a lot of these other players here, I'm not too interested in. Chris Tanev, we can't bring him to the team. Alec Martinez, he's going to age out. Same with Steen. Cam Atkinson's going to age out. Koivu, Krejci, Radulov, all those guys are going to age out. So we've almost reached the point where we're going to be bringing in young players. But you know what? We just haven't reached that point yet. So Jordan Eberle, welcome to the team. Now I really want to bring this player to the team for the culture, Andre Burakovsky, but I'm going to pass up on Andre Burakovsky, and instead we're going to bring Kevin Fiala to the team. That Kevin Fiala selection is going to age a little bit better, but I do believe we reached the point where we're just going to start bringing some young players to the team. Like Yager's available here, Brian Little's available. Yeah, a lot of these players aren't going to be helping too much in the future. So let's see who's available when it comes to elite young players. I mean, Pierre-Luc Dubois, not an elite young player, but Sam Bennett, not bad. Thomas Chabot's available here, and that's actually really it. Okay, we gotta start bringing some of these young players to the team. So I guess we'll start with Sam Bennett. He's gonna be the player we bring to the team, and then right after bringing Sam Bennett, we're gonna bring Thomas Chabot in. So it's gonna be 2 young players that are gonna age pretty well for us. But yeah, we've missed on a couple of selections. I would have really liked Vince Dunn. He would have been a great pickup. Even Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen as a backup goaltender. We got to get on top of our game here. We're kind of lacking. Okay, so I'm just looking at goaltenders with the highest potential. Now, if one of these guys made some better decisions, I would bring him to the team. But yeah, we're not going to do that. Instead, I guess we could bring a guy like Stolarz in, and Stolarz could be the backup. We're going to hold off with Stolarz because I know for a fact I can get him in a later round. Even UC Saros we can get in a later round. So we might be walking away with UC Saros as well. But you know what? We'll focus on goaltenders later. We got to focus on our forward core and our defensive core. And Barbashev, you're going to be a great addition to the forward core. Now, this is an absolute steal. We're going to be bringing Shea Theodore to the team in round number 11. Yeah, Shea Theodore can definitely lead our defense. Now, I'm taking a look at what players have been selected by other teams, and I think that Shea Theodore's selection was actually pretty fair. Like right now, it's a mix of young and old players, so bringing in a young guy like Shea Theodore who has a decent amount of potential, that was a good selection. Like the last thing I want to be doing is going way too far off the board. Brandon Montour was one name I saw earlier, but you know what? We'll just go with Rasmus Anderson instead. That works for me. Now I'm sorting by highest potential, and the second I saw this guy's name, I knew for a fact we were bringing him to the team. Timo Meier. I'm not even contemplating that one. You are joining this team. Oh, there's a lot of really good players. Rupe Hintz next. Yeah, we're bringing a lot of young players to the team. This team in reality would be one of the worst in the entire league. In NHL 25, they're going to be the best by far. Now I keep saying Ryan Pollock's name here, and I want to select him, and I feel like that's just the right decision, but you know what? I don't want to do that too soon. Hronek actually might be a little bit better than him. Ryan Pollock and Hronek would be pretty close in overall. So how about we just bring both of them to the team? Hronek, welcome to the team. And I know for a fact Ryan Pollock's going to be available with our next selection. So that's going to round out our defensive core. I don't think our defensive core really has any superstars here, but we're still in a really good spot. So Ryan Pollock, welcome to the team. Yeah, we got a good defense. I want to bring some guys to the team that aren't rookies, like Sean Crowley, 24 years old, 71 overall. He could be a decent bottom 6 guy for us. Maybe I go with him. Evan Rodriguez, he would also be a pretty decent pickup here. Like he could play some good bottom 6 minutes for me. I'm going to hold off on those two. I'm going to keep them in mind. So after consideration, I think we'll just bring both of those guys to the team. Sean Crowley can play some good bottom 6 minutes. Evan Rodriguez, you can play good bottom 6 minutes. Sean Crowley, I'm not really sold on as much compared to Evan Rodriguez, but you know what? Nick Suzuki's available. We're going with Nick Suzuki. Yeah, that just had to happen. Velarde's available here. Marty Natchez is available here. We're going to hold off on Marty Natchez. I think I can get him in NHL 20 for fairly cheap. But no, there's still some pretty solid options here. I might have been gassing this up a little bit too much. I don't know how great of options we have left. Phil Pedal, that's not a bad pickup. So I'm going to hold off on Marty Natchez and we'll bring him in for NHL 20. I'm not going to hold off on Velarde though. He's going to join the team. And then we got to bring one more player in. Now that player has to be a goaltender, and I've actually selected too many forwards. I brought in 9 centermen, 2 left wingers, 2 right wingers. We got ourselves way too much. We got ourselves one too many forwards, but that's not the end of the world. So who do we bring in to be our backup? Linus Ullmark. I would be okay with Linus Ullmark as the backup. And you know what? I think that's what we're going to do here. Linus Ullmark, I'm going to bring you in to be the backup. So we're going to have ourselves an elite goaltending tandem. It's going to be Vasilevsky and Linus Ullmark. We can work with that. So one thing we have to address, this would be the worst team ever in NHL 18. Like if I rebuilt this team right here, this would be one of the worst of all time. However, we didn't rebuild this team for NHL 18. We rebuilt this team for NHL 25, and in NHL 25, this is going to be an unstoppable team. So we have our team all set here. It's time to import them to NHL 25. Now, I think NHL 16 did give us a better forward core, like Panarin, Matthews, Timo Meier, Nick Suzuki, Rupe Hintz, Barbashev. This isn't bad by any means. I think the bottom 6 actually might be slightly better, but when it comes to the defense, from top to bottom, I do believe that's better. We don't have a clear superstar here, but look at all the X factors. There is no weakness when it comes to the defense, and there's zero weakness when it comes to goaltending. So I think goaltending and defense is better on this team. The offense, not quite as good. Now, although the Scottsdale Snipers weren't as good, they're still first in the entire league, a 54-23-5 record. The offense, only 3.44. That's not even the best in the entire league. We actually had the 3rd best offense. That's just disappointing. Our defense, though, best in the entire game. That actually wasn't even the best. Okay, what were we actually good at? We were 3rd in offense, 2nd in defense. We got to be 1st in at least one of those categories. Panarin, Matthews, Suzuki, Timo Meier. I'm disappointed in all of you. Like Timo Meier, you really only had 55 points. Matthews, you only had 46 goals. Couldn't even pick up 50 for me. What were you even doing out there? Meanwhile, Vasilevsky, Allmark, I think you guys were the only ones that showed up for me. But you know what? That's going to change. We have the Chicago Blackhawks in the first round. How in the world did the Blackhawks make the playoffs? We're not going to worry about that. We're just going to dial in here and win another Stanley Cup. No, but in all seriousness, how in the world did the Chicago Blackhawks just make the Stanley Cup? Like, we're talking about the 2025 Chicago Blackhawks. It makes no sense that team making the playoffs. Like, in literally no universe are the 2025 Chicago Blackhawks making the playoffs. That team has a better chance of getting the first overall pick for the next 3 years than making the playoffs this season. And that is actually a factual statement. I think the best part about that statement right there, it's actually impossible for the Chicago Blackhawks to get 3 straight first round picks. So I'm basically saying it's impossible the Chicago Blackhawks make the playoffs this year. Yeah, I kind of ruined the joke by explaining it, but that's neither here nor there. We're down to the Edmonton Oilers. We are the best team in the league from top to bottom, and we're going to lose to the Edmonton Oilers. Never mind. We learned how to score. 6 goals in the third period. There's no coming back from that. So yeah, I think it's safe to say we're making a 3-1 series comeback. When you score 6 goals in the third period, no team comes back from that, except the Edmonton Oilers, because they're going to shut us out 3-0. We really lost to Stuart Skinner. No, I'm sick. I built an absolute dynasty, a tank of a team, to lose to Stuart Skinner. The Red Wings just won the Stanley Cup, but I lost to Stuart Skinner. Alright then. No, but seriously, we lost to Stuart Skinner. This team right here, this team of NHL All-Stars, lost to Stuart Skinner. Vasilevsky and Allmark lost to Stuart Skinner. Why were we allowing 3.16 goals per game? In no universe should this team right here be allowing 3.16 goals per game in the playoffs. We were allowing more goals in the playoffs than we did the regular season. We're supposed to play better defense in the playoffs compared to the regular season. 3.16. Nah, Connor Hellebuyck, you better not do that to me. I'm bringing you to the team in NHL 20. Let's move on. Alright, so we won 1 Stanley Cup and then we lost to Stuart Skinner. Still haven't gotten over that. We're going to give ourselves one last chance to win a Stanley Cup here, and we're getting the 3rd overall pick. I'll take the 3rd overall. We got the 1st overall, we've got the 3rd overall, and with the 3rd overall pick, there's already a guy I have in mind. There's actually 2 players I have in mind. But you know what? I think the guy we're going to go with here is Nathan MacKinnon. I don't want to pass up on Nathan MacKinnon. The other guy I had in mind, we actually might be able to get a bit later in the draft. I mean, Alexander Ovechkin's available here. Ovi and Nathan MacKinnon together, you know what? I want to pass up on that. So this is the other player I was thinking about getting, Cale Makar. I didn't realize he would go this high in the draft. He went 17th overall in the fantasy draft. Yeah, shout out to Cale Makar. I'm just really surprised he went over a couple of these other players. Also, Quinn Hughes was another guy I wanted to get, but it doesn't look like we're going to walk away with him. So you know what? We have to go with our 3rd option here, but it's not a bad option whatsoever. Connor Hellebuyck, welcome to the team. So we got ourselves a big 3, and certainly a big 3 I can work around. And you know what? How about we just bring JT Miller to the team as well? We're going to be building an absolute super team here. Yeah, I wasn't kidding about building a super team. Slavin, welcome to the team as well. It's just hit after hit around here. Now, Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes, they would have been great defensemen, but let's not act like Adam Fox is a bad defenseman. And you know what? I'm kind of hyped about defensemen right now. So Severson, how about I bring you to the team as well? So we're in round number 8 right now, and there's already been a ton of elite potential players that have been drafted. There's only 3 elite potential players left, and all 3 of them have low elite potential, and I don't want to bring any of them to the team. However, going through all these players right here, there is one player that stood out to me. I know I've passed over a lot of great players like Nichushkin. I would actually really like to bring him to the team, but there's one guy I want to bring over all these players right here. And who's that player? Adrian Kempe. So Adrian Kempe, welcome to the team, and then we'll double back and get Nichushkin. Now Nichushkin's going to be a really good player in the future, so if I put him on the 2nd line alongside Kempe, that's going to be an amazing line. That's if I can find Nichushkin, because now I can just no longer find him. He wasn't drafted or anything. Here he is. Nichushkin, welcome to the team. Now there's 2 other players that have to come to the team. Under no circumstances are these players not coming to the team. Okay, Jason Robertson, you are one of those players now. You actually weren't even one of the 2 players I was thinking about. Now here's the 2 guys I was thinking of. One of them, of course, is a stick on the ice legend. That's because he's a St. Louis Blues legend. If I can find him. I don't know why it is so incredibly difficult to find the players I'm looking for. Jordan Kyrou, you are one of the players I'm bringing to the team. Now that I've selected Jordan Kyrou, I think you know who the other player I want is. Where is the great Robert Thomas? Bro has to come to the team. Under no circumstances does Robert Thomas not join this team. I mean, Zach Hyman's available, and I wouldn't hate bringing Zach Hyman to the team, so that's what we're going to do. Now, Michael Matheson, at 25 years old, you're only an 81 overall, but you know what? You're going to see some pretty crazy progression, so in NHL 25, you're going to be a serviceable defenseman for us for sure. Teams don't know what they were just missing out on. Like, just leaving Michael Matheson right there, Ridiculous. What else is ridiculous is the fact that Troy Terry is still available here, and I'm kind of contemplating picking him up here. He wouldn't be a bad right winger for us in the future, but I do believe there are some better options. I might just be completely yapping. I think we do bring Troy Terry in, but after we bring up, oh, not this guy, Sean Dursey. I don't want to bring Green in. I don't even know what his first name was. It's probably like Liam Green or something. I don't want to bring Liam Green to the team, or Lee Green. Shout to Green. Don't know who it was. But yeah, I want to make sure we bring in Sean Dursey. And you know what? We might be losing out on Troy Terry. Never mind. He's going to be joining the team as well. So we're still in a pretty solid spot. No, you know what? How about we just pick up a backup goaltender here? We could bring in Jake the Snake, and I wouldn't mind Jake the Snake to be our backup. But who is a goaltender here that's going to turn to an absolute stud? Gustafsson. So yeah, we're going to have Hellebuyck and Gustafsson. That's a pretty good tandem. All right, so we got 5 more selections to make. It's going to be 1 defenseman and then 4 forwards. I think we finish off our defensive core right here. Thomas Harley, I think you're going to be that guy. You looked amazing for Team Canada. So Thomas Harley, welcome to the team. Now that was a really easy selection, so let's hope our forwards are the exact same. Like Connor McMichael is one guy that interests me, and you know what? I have you on my fantasy team, so bring Connor McMichael to the team. So we got to bring in 3 more forwards, and a couple names that popped up a couple times. It's going to be Tomasino and Höglander. Höglander and Tomasino, 2 stick on the ice legends. I'd love to bring them to the team. However, I do think there's better options out there. Now, what are those better options going to be? I haven't actually figured that out yet. Now, we just need to find an absolute stud who didn't have a ton of potential entering the league, but has turned into a star player. Now, I'm saying that like it's going to be incredibly easy to find these players. It will not be. We are going to be scrolling for a minute. Now, in my head, I thought this was going to be a lot easier. Pontus Holmberg, welcome to the team. Pontus Holmberg's available here. That's a no-brainer. Now, there's another player I saw, and they currently play for the Washington Capitals, and I also have them on my fantasy team, Protas. Now, it's going to take a little bit to scroll down to find Protas, so you got to give me a couple seconds here. Actually, who cares about Protas? Carter Verhaeghe? Yeah, welcome to the team. I'll pass up on Protas to bring Carter Verhaeghe in. So yeah, Carter Verhaeghe is going to be our final pickup. That's going to be our 20th player. So we got our 12 forwards, our 6 defensemen, 2 goaltenders. I'm not going to lie, I kind of regret taking Pontus Holmberg here because we could have had a better player, but we got Pontus Holmberg. Like, he's a game changer. Now imagine if you saw this team in 2019-2020. You would think, wow, this is the worst run organization of all time. Nathan McKinnon, Alexander Ovechkin, JT Miller, great pieces. Kempe, Troy Terry, Zach Hyman, a couple young guys here. I mean, Zach Hyman is 27, so he's not really that young. You have Jordan Kyrou, Jason Robson, Connor McMichael, Carter Verhaeghe, Valerie Nichushkin, and then Pontus Holmberg. You would think the GM has absolutely no clue what they're doing. They have a decent top 4 here, and then you got 260 overalls in the third pairing, and then the goaltending, not looking that great. Yeah, you have Connor Hellebuyck, but a 67 overall backup. What is this GM doing? But little did you know, this GM just constructed one of the greatest teams in NHL history. Now, this is kind of odd, but I just thought I'd mention it. In year number 1, when I believe we actually had the best team, we were a 95 overall. The past 2 seasons, we've been a 97, even though I think our team's not quite as good. So we're a 97 overall, even though the team's worse. It's kind of interesting. Now, I kind of understand why this team's a 97 overall. Like, the top 6 looks amazing. Even the third line's looking amazing. Show up Pontus Holmberg. He's repping the 4th line. He's doing his thing. Slave and Adam Fox, they're going to be the number 1 pairing. I don't think our defense is quite as good as NHL 18, but our offense is better than NHL 18. And I think that's really all that matters. Last time we were in the postseason, we couldn't score goals to save our lives, so I think things are going to be different this time. We got some true goal scorers on this team, some true natural scorers, and I think that's going to make the difference. So the Scottsdale Snipers are going to be finishing first in the entire league, a 56-19-7 record. They're looking to bounce back from the previous disappointments. Like, the fact that we're not going 3 for 3 with Stanley Cups, a bit ridiculous. Nathan McKinnon 100 points, JT Miller 85. Ovi, I was kind of hoping for 50 goals here. I'm actually incredibly disappointed you didn't pick up 50 goals, but I know you're going to step up in the postseason when it matters. Same with Connor Hellebuyck, 46 wins, 6 shots, a 918, a 239. These are great regular season numbers, but I need you to be even better in the postseason. We're taking on the LA Kings. It's time for the Snipers to prove themselves one last time. Like in NHL 20, I caught a lot of flack as the GM, but you know what? I built a super team here. They didn't realize the type of team I was going to be building. We're taking down the LA Kings in the first round. It was an absolute cakewalk for us. Nah, but real talk, in NHL 20, they were hating on me. They were saying this GM has no clue what he's doing. Little did they know I built one of the greatest teams of all time, and we're going to win a Stanley Cup with this team. We're sweeping the Winnipeg Jets, moving on to the conference finals. The Anaheim Ducks are up next. There's no way the Anaheim Ducks are going to stop us. We're going to sweep this team and make it to the Stanley Cup final. I don't know how the Anaheim Ducks even made it to the conference finals. Like, this is the 2025 Anaheim Ducks we're talking about. How in the world did that happen? But we've made to the Stanley Cup final. The Florida Panthers are the only team in front of us, and we're going to sweep them as well. So what was that, 16-1 in the postseason? Not too bad. The LA Kings were able to steal one game away from us. We actually ended up winning 16 straight games. We lost game number 1, and then after that, 16 straight. So shout out to Connor Hellebuyck. I think he held up his end of the bargain. Nathan MacKinnon was amazing. 10 goals, 15 assists. Jason Robinson, 20 points. Ovi, 20 points. JT Miller, 17. So we had 4 point-a-game scores. A handful of other guys pretty close to a point a game, but goaltending was the real difference maker. Connor Hellebuyck, 16 wins, 1 loss in game number 1. Then he won 16 straight games. 2 shots, a 926 and a 217. But I think we all know who the true game changer was, and without this man, we wouldn't have been able to win a Stanley Cup. So if you made it to the end of the video, comment Pontus Holmberg. Pontus Holmberg was the true MVP. 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points. He was +9 and 1 game-winning goal. Without Pontus Holmberg, we're definitely not winning a Stanley Cup.